we'll bring the meeting to order. Welcome, everybody. Good to see everybody out on this nice, beautiful, rainy night. We'll go ahead and do our pledge and invocation. We'll go ahead and get started, get through our work session tonight. If you would join me in prayer. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this much-needed rain that we've received, Lord. We just pray that you be with us tonight. Just guide us and direct us in our decision-making tonight, Lord, that we make the right decisions for the city. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first thing up on our agenda tonight is going to be citizens' comments. If there's anyone at this time that would like to come up and make any comments, feel free to do so. All right, moving along. Approval of agenda, and before we do that, I do want to make one amendment to that, and we'll put it after number 11, and just move the executive session down. And that'll be Labor Day celebration. I'll go a little bit more into that when we get to it.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve the agenda with the addition of line item 12.
I'll second that motion.
Motion made by Juliet to accept the agenda with the addition of item number 12, moving number 12 to 13, second by Andrew. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by raising your right hand.
Aye.
All opposed, same up. Motion carried. All right. First thing up, the apparel with new logo on it. The reason I had that put on there, and this will be real quick, was we have been talking, Jerry and I and Angie, about using the new t-shirt logo that we use down in Savannah and selling them not at cost, but at a slight profit, and using that profit to go towards Secret Santa when it's coming up for Christmas time. And that way, hopefully we could raise enough money to be able to do at least one family, if not more, per district. I've talked to Amy up at the pharmacy, and they agreed to do the same with collecting that and putting that money towards it as well, and putting the sign out there that that's actually what it's for. So just kind of want to bring that up to y'all as far as doing that. And I have not gotten prices back for bulk order. They're trying to get that to me this evening. I don't think they'll make it in time, but looking at bulk order on the t-shirts, doing white and gray, and then also looking at doing hats with the leather patch. And once we have that, hopefully by next week, I can give you an update on the price of that going forward. Any ideas or discussion on that?
Sounds good. Good idea.
Okay. Next up, local emergency operation plan. You want to take that, Jerry, or you want Tony to kind of go over that? Or you two can tag a team, how's that?
Oh, sure. I'll go ahead and speak to that. Earlier on this year, one of the agenda items that I kind of assigned myself was really to kind of create a communications plan and kind of reinforce our emergency operations plan. This is coming from some training that I've received, in previous year from the Georgia Municipal Association. And what this does is, we do have an emergency operations interoperational agreement with Hall County, Banks County, and Jerry's aware of that, and he fulfills those duties, making sure that all of our documentation is signed. I think Joey Holmes as well is aware of those plans. But what this does is it creates a different style, and we'll have to look at the existing one along with this new proposed version. This proposed version comes from Georgia Municipal Association's template, and also brings in the Georgia Emergency Operations Plan template with the Department of Homeland Security. We do have a checklist that has been included in this. There are several items and things that need to be done on various different types of hazards that could occur. And one of those hazards, we just recently experienced, which was a drought due to severe weather, and that is a classified, hazard in the emergency operations, and we did execute those. But this allows us to have a more, clear, concise ability to have, documentation printed and available for all of those that are part of that are stakeholders in the emergency operations team. It'll give them the ability to do what is known as tabletop exercises. So whether it's a drought condition like we had, which reduced our water supply, but also other incidents, floods, hurricanes, all of which we've had. Hopefully we don't have active shooters, but all of that would be included in an emergency operations plan. And so what this is designed to do is really give us an opportunity to sit down in committee and outside committee to try to come up with a merging of the documents that we have, and then we would be able to, once it's completed, we'll have to wait until the appropriate time we could codify that as well, and certainly make sure that this is available online for others to see. But this does borrow, like I said, from various cities. There's some examples in there, and once we get into it, there is, I believe, 12 to 16 different emergency functions. They're they're labeled EF1, EF2, things like that. And this one focused more on the communications because we did have an issue with communications, which in the Georgia Emergency Operations Plan, I believe that is emergency function 2, and also I think it was 16. But I've got it in here. And we can certainly, look at those and make sure that we've got that covered. And it gives us an opportunity to create a better plan of communication. Because there were several things that were discussed on the most recent town hall, things that have been discussed, among council even before the event that we're trying to get done. And so this will help us, guide that path forward. And I think that once this is solidified, it's really going to put us in a much better position, and also in a position where other cities around us can look to see what we've done. And I think that's a good goal to have. Thank you. Hopefully, if you've got a chance, I know it's kind of late when you got this particular document over the weekend, so I wouldn't expect everyone to have a chance to review all the pages that are involved in it. It is pretty lengthy, and once we get it completed, it'll probably be even longer than that. So it's really in depth, but once it's done, you really have something to utilize and share and make sure that we're on target in practice. We can practice drilling for these things and making sure that all of our department heads know what they need to do. Jerry as well, T&G as well, Mayor. There's roles for you in there that you'll be designated by default. So. And also, it talks about, and this is something we haven't really gone into, is our alternate sites. I know that in our interoperable agreements with our surrounding counties, there are alternate sites that are with the county that we could move to, but there are also things that we can do locally as well to kind of help provide that for ourselves and as well for other cities that may have experience some sort of hazard that doesn't allow them to operate from their current location. We'd be able to share and provide that mutual aid to them as well.
I want to add to it. So I want to add that it does go in line with the hazard mitigation between Hall County and Banks County, and it's a great thing to have. And some people don't know who they would call. Fortunately, last week I did. I knew who to call, and it worked out really well. Zach Brackett was able to give me the phone number to GMA, and then GRWA, which too for our current situation would be involved. Just bad thing is it was on 4th of July, so that kind of makes it tough. But an emergency happens on Wednesdays and Fridays and holidays. So being prepared, and of course, our situation is a little different. Well, a lot of cities and counties are dealing with water right now that are struggling. But I remember the big one for me was the tornado in '98 that hit Crown, that hit that area. I was part of the crew that helped clean up. I mean, we had a lot of people involved, and Gina was up numerous times helping out and getting funding to help the county and the citizens that lived in that area that were affected. So it opens up avenues during a serious emergency, something like that, opens up avenues for funding as well to help pay for those costs. So between GEMA and FEMA, you know, there's still bureaucracy involved, but it does get done. It takes time. But the initial response, it's incumbent upon local officials to handle it. And this would address that on how to move forward.
Is there a way that we can get a copy of the current plan in our mailboxes so that we can kind of compare the two?
Yes.
I was gonna say, do you have a copy, Council? I'm sure we do, just finding it.
And I'm sure a lot of it needs to be updated, you know, and it's unfortunate you don't think about this until something does happen.
Right.
That, you know, it's one of those instances where everything's running along fine, you have an issue, and everybody scrambles. So having this is gonna be great. I love the checklist, the way you did that, Tony. That does help, because anybody can go through and make sure things are done in the correct way, so.
It's helpful because in a situation like that, you know, you don't want to have to rely on just memory. We've got something that you could put in your hand and say, okay, well, I know where to go, find out who I'm supposed to call next and why.
Yeah, and Jeremy and I were talking about that today, you know, things can happen in the blink of an eye, and the person that you rely on the most might not be here, so.
You know,
That's right. That's right.
I thought Jerry did a phenomenal job, and he said he remembered who to call. And I bet you, Jerry, I have to say, you probably do it from memory anyway.
Well, the big one, in any situation, the first one you need to call is your EMA director. That's the first one. And then they can get you in contact with state and other resources. GRWA is a separate resource from anybody else. And he gave me Jay's number and it worked out. And I had worked with Jay in the past, many, many years ago. And everybody thinks GRWA is a resource to set your water and sewer rates. That is a very small part of what they do. They do many other things to help mitigate water and sewer issues throughout the state. So, and they're separate from GEMA. So,
And it was a pleasure working with you today.
oh yeah, they're great. They are great, and math wizards too. I'm glad they're mathematics. So,
Yes. They can figure stuff out pretty quick, but, so take your time, look through this week, and Joey can get that other for us, so we can kind of compare, and, let's build this out for more ways than not, because, right now, looking at the long-range weather for this winter, I'm sure y'all seen some of the models out there. This is shaping up to be one of those years where the wintertime could be pretty bad for us all, so, you know, let's be prepared now, be proactive with it, and, that way we don't have to worry about it when that does come along. All right, any other discussion or questions on that? Good job, Tony, thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Next up, these next few that we're gonna be going on here, the next 4, 5 that we're going through, we'll be voting on these as well tonight. Capital expenditures for trucks, equipment, and upgrades. Jerry, do you wanna kind of go over that? 'Cause I know we weren't looking at every bit of that, but, bits and pieces that we did need.
right. Let me pass this out so you don't get freaked out. All right. So over the last 6 months, I have spoken with Boyd, Deborah, Trinity, Tansy, though some of the things me and Tansy discussed have not made this list, they'll come later. But these are, for the most part, immediate, needs, that can be paid for out of SPOS for streets, water, and, recreation. So, and these all take time, so the sooner we can get approval, the sooner we can get started on getting these things accomplished. So, as you can see in the street department, there's several, pieces of equipment that they need, that they don't have. There's, in the streets, there's 3 vehicles. One is an inmate truck. Currently, they have a bus, and it works, I mean, for the most part. But we've had 3 or 4 breakdowns in the last year. You don't want an inmate bus breakdown on 365. That's not ideal by any stretch of the imagination. And now it has started to leak water around the handicap door. So, so there's that. Another big issue is when they go and weed eat. Weed eaters are fine, but they also have to put gas in the van. And that is not ideal at all, by any means. So that's why I have an inmate truck listed here. It'll be a crew cab, pickup truck. All these prices are estimates, so it could come in a little bit cheaper. But I want to make sure there's, warning lights on it, not just your regular hazards, but, wigwags and yellow and white. That way they can assist on the side of the road as well. A dump truck, we need a newer, better dump truck. We have the big dump truck back here, but it's getting old. And it's tough for some of the guys to drive. Not to say they can't, but it's just tough for them to drive. This would be when I say smaller, not quite as cumbersome. And it'll be easier to get down some of our streets when we're chipping and various other things that we do with it. Now, we don't drive it every day, but when we need it, it's a serious need. So, and then a bucket truck. Now, currently, we hang all of our Christmas lights from a machine that we borrow from the Forestry Service. And you all seen it, pretty cool looking machine from the military, it's great. But we can only get it if it's here. If it's in South Georgia, we ain't hanging Christmas lights. Also, a bucket truck would assist in cutting overhang and other things, and we've had a lot of requests for that this year. So I think it's becoming a need now. And then another thing is, I don't know if you're all aware, but the shop does not have a shower and it does not have hot water. And our guys work in the sewer manholes from time to time, and it would be ideal that they have a shower installed with a hot water tank. And then the remodel is putting new doors on the shop, roll-up doors and entry doors. I don't know if you've tried to go in there, but don't open the bay doors. They have a tendency to come off the hinges, and it's not a good thing. It's not a good situation at all. And then come try to get in when they're open. If the door's shut, you got to fight both doors to get in. And it could be the guys on the other side saying, "Oh no, we don't want to see them," but no, the doors are in really bad shape. So, and the building is very old, so we need, since we don't have an alternative plan yet on what to do with public works, right now would be a good first step, so they can take care of themselves, get better organized, and have a shower when they have to do the dirty work, and have hot water so they can at least wash their hands with hot water and soap. So in the wintertime, the water is quite cold. So, and then some other things that we discussed is like the stage, sidewalk, put that in there. We need a sidewalk at Tenerife Park up here at the Thorway. We need a sidewalk there. And extend the fence down. We've already started cutting overhang where the limbs were blocking everything. But we've cut some of that down here in the last couple of weeks. So it's starting to look a little better. We need to clean that park up. And then a catch basin at Cobb Street and Pine Street sounds kind of silly, just talking about it. But when you go over there where the trucking company is, water just pours down that street. And it floods out the neighbors on the downhill slope. So we need to get a new catch basin and possibly a new pipe. But we think we might be able to get around that, but that's got to get done. That falls under street repairs as well. And then under the water side, a pickup truck with a plow and a spreader, that goes to the issue that the mayor was talking about with the El Nino. We got some hills, and we don't need people stranded if they need to get out. And when I say that, not everybody needs to get out, but we do have first responders here that don't have an assigned vehicle from their agency. We have doctors and nurses that traverse through here. We have firefighters, and we have some police officers that don't have an assigned vehicle that live in the area that come through Lula, and having this would be a huge benefit. Now we may only use the spreader and the plow, twice a winter, but it's better to have and not need than to need and not have. And we needed it last year, especially after we got the snow. We had to call in, and I appreciate Hall County helping us out. We had to call in Hall County to spread Athens Street from one end to the other, and then Belton Bridge as well. And there could have been several others that we would have done. So, but this is a start to move forward with providing that service in wintertime. The truck would be used by the Public Works Director. It'd be a new truck, and it'd be used by the Public Works Director, and then his truck would just pass down to the regular fleet. And because it's not going a lot of miles, we can still use it. So then we can get rid of a couple of others that we don't need.
Quick question, did we get the 2 trucks that we had approved within the last 2 years? Did we finally get those?
We have a new truck in here at,
Oh, and Trinity.
Yeah.
Trinity.
Okay. I
that's
wanted to
what
make
I'm-
sure we've gotten those.
And then if you look on down, there's a meter reading box. That sounds pretty generic. It's actually the better box to read water meters. It'll read them faster and be more accurate and less cumbersome than the one they're using right now.
Is this the vehicle mount?
I don't know how it works. No, I think it may be. It may be. I'll ask Nancy. She was the one that mentioned it. But the other one just it can be troublesome. Can you tell us about the new box?
about what?
The meter reading box?
Oh, yes. So,
She loves it.
You want to borrow one of our mics? You want to borrow one of our mics?
do I, let's see this. Do I have to talk loud? Let's see. Okay. This one, yeah.
Got it.
Okay, I dropped it. Okay, so we have 2 things that we use to read meters, and the one that we upgraded, it does great. We can stand here and it will read probably, I'm not good with my miles and all that, but it reads further down. The other little blocks does not. So you have to be right up on the house in order to read. And so it does not pick up very well. It does not connect very well. It is a pain, basically. So yes, and I have asked, and I'm not going out there reading the meters. I just get it ready for the guys. So I've even asked. We've had employees complain that it doesn't pick up. I do like the other one that we did upgrade, and I would ask, I think it would make it easier for the guys to read if they have that.
So would this be 2 of them? So we
It would
have
make
the
it second.
existing box? Okay.
Yes, we have one, and it would make another one. Yes.
It would also speed it up, wouldn't it?
It should, yes. It should not, it does take them a really long time to read with that particular one, and this one would make it easier to read, yes. Like, it shouldn't.
And with the meter upgrades, that's gonna help as well, correct?
Yes, it should.
Yes.
Also, I want to point out too, the ones that are highlighted in blue, those are the ones that, Banks County SPOS, a portion of it be contributed to this, cost as well. There's, at least 2 PRVs, pressure reducing valves needed on Garrison Road, because the pressures are very, very high, and we don't need to, if we can prevent a leak, let's do it. So, given this day and time. Also, I want to point out that we have the Victoria Well House upgrade. The building itself is getting in pretty poor shape, but this last week, we did some testing over there, and we need to put a new pump in and a couple other apertures to make that pump more efficient. It's not doing a very good job pumping water, so we need to upgrade that, and that's why that's on. We have a bore under State Route 51. Y'all very familiar with Maiden Lane and 51. We need to start putting these bores in. There should be another one, yes. Water line bore under 52. That's the one down here near our interconnect. That's the one that when it leaks, you have to dig a hole the size that could bury a Ranger pickup on its end, put it nose to tail up, and you could bury it. It's that deep. And that's just too dangerous for our guys to be getting into.
And the configuration down in that hole, I will tell you firsthand, is, it's wild. It has been patched, repatched, and then the patches have been patched.
Yes.
There are more couplings in that hole, I think, than some hardware stores have. It was amazing to see that. So, not only does that need to be done, but that whole thing needs to be straightened up so that we don't have the issue later on down there.
And which line is that?
Down by the country store,
Yeah.
down past your house.
Yeah, just past your house.
Where it broke a few.
For 52 and
Last year?
51, yes.
You see
Yeah, they had
that
to
one?
pick it up last winter.
Yeah, the orange fence is around it.
And then the Gainesville interconnect upgrade, we're discussing that as we speak, on what size it should be. This is based on it off of a 6-inch, interconnect, with a booster pump and all the apertures that go with it. However, we may be able to get away with a 4-inch. We'll see. Not that 2-inch would work if it had a booster pump. That's the biggest problem, is the booster pump. And I don't have any idea what those cost now. They used to be fairly inexpensive, but now they're not cheap. But this is based on the 6-inch, so that number could go down. And then on the recreation side is the electricity upgrade at the stage. It's only rated at 60 amps. It needs to be a solid 100 amps. If we want to have performers there, last year we had to have someone in to bridge that and put in a distribution panel from the actual breaker box there, big building there, out by railroad, the depot, out by the railroad depot. And, I mean, it's not a big expense as far as getting him out there, but if we start having more and more events, that's going to be a demand going forward. And then electricity upgrade at Wellness Park, to do something there, at least at Christmas and possibly other times of the year. And the mayor could go into that a little more. And then I have the demolition rebuild of Maiden Lane property. That's the burnt house. Get that cleaned up. And now I have 50,000. I'm hoping we can do it for a whole lot less. The demolition, I know we can because we would be the ones doing that part. But I put a little extra in there because I'm not sure what you all want to put there. So we can discuss that at a later date. Want to get the demolition going at least for now. And then trees at Wellness Park, we have several trees that need to come down because they're a public safety hazard. And then doors at Wellness Park, they're all rusty and coming apart, and a couple have been vandalized. So that's a list of capital improvements that, for the most part, the SPOS money is there, well beyond that. But this will be a start moving us, providing better services for the citizens of Lula. I mean, we've been sitting on the SPOS money for years, it looks like. So the money's there to do all this. And One, it will also, improve morale in some of the departments, because they've been asking for things over the years. And this will show that, hey, council does care about how we do our job and what we're doing. And, they're giving us the tools to do our job better and more efficient. I can't convince them, though, that, there's a difference between a right hand and a left hand shoulder. So,
And let me add a little bit here. As Jerry and I have gone through a lot of this already, there is a lot of stuff on here that, I hate to say was kicked down the road, but stuff that should have been done years ago that never got done, for whatever reason, doesn't matter. But moving forward, the longer we wait, the more it costs, okay? The bucket truck would be a huge help to Public Works, the dump truck especially, and we're not talking full-size CDL dump truck. We're talking-
And that's been a challenge.
Yeah, finding one that's a little bit more manageable for most everybody that can drive automatic and so on and so forth. And then, just the tool upgrades for them, to make their job easier.
Yes, ma'am.
We don't really use the trash truck.
Well,
Sell the trash.
Yeah,
We have a plan for it.
So Jerry and I talked to two different auction companies down at GMA. One of them will actually come in, do the pictures, do the web, they'll do everything, answer questions, they'll take care of it all, for us. Or they will actually come in and offer us a lump sum for everything, and we can take that towards this. So we actually have money coming back in, and we discussed getting rid of the two tractors that we can't use, they're too small, and looking at another apparatus to cover that. So we have been looking at different options to kind of condense and help them a little bit more.
Because that would give them more room out there
It would.
too.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But it would also help with our pest control situation that previously, not current.
Right. That's been.
And I talked to, I have a feeling I talked to the same ones, because I was like, I got a dump truck, I want rid of it.
Yeah,
Like-
Yoder's down in,
Talk to.
Newman are the good, the ones we talked to most. And then the Victoria Well House, from talking with Hoyt, that pump and that has dropped, what, 10 gallons a minute?
About that.
About that a minute, so it is getting wore out, but it's also at its capacity. So it's not pumping what it should pump. To upgrade that to a bigger pump, where you have the capacity to turn it up or turn it down, is what we really need to look at, like some of the other pumps that we do have. And then eventually, once we look at the, refurbish of that well over there on that side too, the Banks County well, refurbishing that as well, so. All these things are gonna be proactive to help us in the future, we're not gonna see that
And those,
immediate.
and those numbers for each group, I suspect they'll all come in low. But this is just an estimate.
I'd rather you overestimate.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'd rather you
Oh,
overestimate than
absolutely.
underestimate.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I have a question. With some of the wellness park stuff, is there any plans to fix or upgrade the water fountain that's out at the park that does not work? Last I checked.
We can. I wasn't aware of it, I'm sorry.
So I guess I could kind of go in a little bit on the wellness park stuff, kind of fill everybody in. My goal here is to get power to the park on the walking trail. In a way that we can turn it off and turn it on, so that we can have events down there without generators running and everything. I know Liberty Church is down there quite a bit doing events, and I know they would appreciate it. Looking at Christmas in the park, which has been something on my mind for many years, but being able to put lights in the park, being able to utilize it down there in a way that everybody can enjoy it. And not just for walking trails, not just for the playground. And then I've also spoken to a few different vendors on, since we call it the wellness park, we might as well make it a wellness park. Put things in there for people that can work out. They make these, I don't want to say they're a playground, but if you've ever been to Don Carter Park, you ever been over there, they actually have a wellness area with workout machines that are, I forget what you call that, but you're using your own body weight to make it work.
Right.
Hydraulic, usually.
Well, they're not,
You're just
it's
using your own.
biometric, or not biometric, but using your own body weight to
be the resistance.
To be the resistance is what it is. They have many different ones over there. So if you get a chance, go to Doc Carter. I believe you can go into that park. Maybe, I don't know if you have to pay to go in that park or not, but look at that. They've got several different things. They've got like an elliptical type thing. They've got, crunches. They've got all sorts of different ones over there, and they're pretty fascinating. Believe it or not, to go over there and work out, and you get a good one. So combine that with the walking trails, get more people down there, and use it for what it's called. It's called Wellness Park. Let's use it for Wellness Park.
And the idea I like about the walking trail is it's different. Speaking to the Christmas time, it's a walking trail, and you can walk this instead of drive through it. Instead of 10 minutes of driving like you would in Cornelia or some of the other places, this you can actually walk through and take your time and enjoy the holiday season. But we can do this at other times as well. So it will take time to build it out, but getting the electric in is the first step. That's the first big step.
And then, talking with the different civic organizations come in, the churches come in, several different ones in the area, to be part of the community, to come in and set up, kind of like what Liberty does with their pumpkins in the park and, the different ones that they do throughout the year, but have other ones come in as well and sharing that takes a lot of it off the city. And it gives them that opportunity for their outreach programs as well. And, we're providing the electricity, we're providing the lights down in there, to make it enjoyable for everybody. And it brings the community out.
One more, would this also possibly include getting like a better, higher grade light for the tennis court where it could actually be used after hours?
Yes, so the second overhead didn't work.
It's still not bright enough. I mean, it needs to be like a pretty bright light to light it up to where you can see.
Yeah, we could, because it's supposed to go through the walking trail, and I think it's supposed to come back the way they had it planned, to come back to the tennis court, because I told them that would be one area that we would use at Christmas. So there should be an outlet there as well, where we can put some stronger lights for that purpose. And we just hang them at the top of the fence. I say hang them, we put them on a post.
That's probably what it needs.
I agree, because those lights are more directly focused for roadway use, and what we're needing there is more of an area use. So, yeah, we'll look at that, and if it's more than what's on here, we'll bring it back to you. I also want to bring up that we're doing the Oconee well house upgrade as well. Now, that pump is fine, but the building is in really bad shape. And it needs a fence around it, so. Y'all have any questions, any concerns?
When did y'all tell you the water company? Recently. Okay, and it didn't work. So I was just told it's been on, so I made a note to double check it. I was just curious because I was told it's been on for the past 2 months. So I don't know. We'll check on that. Just curious. Okay.
Any other questions on this? Yeah, you have your Oconee well house upgrade on.
Yeah, it's on.
So the ones in blue we have to cover with Banks County.
No, we can use Banks County's funds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we can use a portion of Banks County. But as you see, Banks County's cost is nowhere near like Hall County. So we would probably use just a little bit, not very much, because we want to keep some there, for some road improvements, as well with Banks County's cost, T-Splosh, I'm sorry.
So what is our total between everything?
I have not told you about that, I'm so sorry. I'll use Tansy's now.
Math normally,
But it always maths to the good, so.
I got 1.274. 1,274,680.
I don't know if y'all noticed, but in 4,400, there is a line item for hydrant blocks. So we are getting hydrant blocks for our remote areas where our fire hydrants are. That way it'll deter theft. I mean, you're not gonna stop a thief. You only stop, a lock only stops honest people. But this will be a deterrent because it takes time. Time with a truck that holds 30,000 gallons. You don't want to sit there long. You want to get the water to go, get out of the way. So if we haven't caught anybody yet, but we do get reports from time to time that, water trucks pull up and hook right up, get it and go.
Yeah, after Friday's meeting, I got several reports that I sent to you.
Yeah.
We
So
went and looked at those and.
today, yeah, that one, we didn't see anything.
I don't think anybody's been in that hydrant at all. There was no fresh straight marks from tools or anything on it. So,
Fortunately, that's a good thing.
yes. So that is a total that you came out with for everything?
Yes, for all three of those. Yes, the 583.
And then we gotta take out the Banks County ones.
81.
Well, it'll be a combination.
It will be.
Yeah, just those in blue, we might use a portion of the Banks County funds.
Oh, okay, all right,
Because that's not even 200,000 in the blue.
right.
But like I said, I don't want to exhaust all the Banks County funds, so we can have money for roads as well.
Yeah, 127,468.
And that would be everything on this, correct?
Everything on the list. And then the next list would be a little larger, because I'm trying to get cost estimates for 2 new wells.
All right. Any more questions, comments, discussion?
Since I know we were gonna, we could possibly vote on these, do you want a motion on these?
Yes, please.
We would have to, yes.
Based on the current list, I make a motion that we go ahead and approve these needs now. For the 1,274,680 as the estimate.
I'll go ahead and second that motion.
Motion made by Juliet to approve the capital funding for 1.274,680 estimate, second by Andrew. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Let's get that started, Jerry.
Okay. Now, we can address the other two, the communications electronic signs clause. That is in that you just approved. It's in the electronic sign boards at the bottom under 4,400. So that's in there. And the Pine Street ditch and pipe upgrade, I spoke of that, and that's in there as well. So we can get started on getting this stuff in and being able to work. Also, there's work site lights. Because we ran into that issue last year. So water leaks don't happen just during the day. They happen at night, so we need lights. That's a big deal. So having those,
And the lights are in here.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And then the electronic sign boards, we've been looking at, and these messaging boards are what we discussed Friday night at the town hall. To start would be 2 signs, one at either end of Main Street, coming in on Old Canadian Highway. And then the other ones that we've already got on the way for the smaller signs to put out in the community. We got 20 of boil water advisory and 20 of the conserve water. As well as using the messaging board over at the depot. But these can also be used, these messaging signs can be used for other events. When we have railroad days, Christmas, for parking, parade route, different things like that that can be used for. And these are actually looking at the better boards, I believe, price-wise. And Jerry says we actually got one offered to us.
Yes,
Hall
yes.
County offered one to use for temporary.
They have two, but one of them's down for maintenance, so, and we're gonna try to get it Wednesday.
Do these come with stands? Oh, yes, yes. They come with the H.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Sorry, I just didn't know, since those were coming, if we needed to buy those.
No, they come with
Sorry,
the H.
I'm
If not, I had a bunch anyways.
Yeah, no, they come with the
We
H
got a
stands.
few.
We're good.
I know.
Two,
so I was
not
like,
many.
Sorry, yes.
So yes, we, they're self-contained on a trailer for the message boards. The lights are the same way, it's self-contained, exactly like what we had out that night, Veterans Day, I remember. I was out there, so, yeah, and it worked great, so. And the message boards, we can use it for several times
Multiple
during the year.
applications, right?
And we get rid of some of those other things you have to use storage, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. We're gonna make it work.
Okay, I know that we approved this, but you didn't speak on this one, I don't think. What's the deal with the Marjack hydrant?
It got hit last year, and I have ran into hurdles, so I'm trying to get that put into our insurance. I'm trying to get all the reports and everything from that accident, so we need to go ahead, and it was worked on from the previous manager, and I don't know where it went, so.
We actually have a hydrant out there, don't we?
I think they're all broke, or they got stems, stripped, different things, so we just get a new one and put it there.
Trash pump.
That is when they, have a leak, they suck the dirt and the mud out.
That way, in case it gets spilled out at the four corners, it can get cleaned up easier than them doing it with the shovel.
Right.
And the back of the truck.
And when it's mud, I don't know what you can do, just pump it out of the road. We had to use one last year, so that they need a new one, it's pretty old.
Now, the Skag mower, is that one mower?
Just one,
That's just one.
just one,
I know we had discussed two, but
that's just one.
Because didn't we buy two in the
Last year, wasn't it?
year? Year and a?
2 years.
2 years. Because if we bought two, I think, since I've been here, I'm on my third year now.
Yeah.
It was as they were transitioning. Okay.
And then Todd Street, we already spoke on that. And what that is, there is actually a pipe under that road that we learned. But it's been filled in for 25 years or better.
At least.
At least. And putting the catch basin in on that, what that'll allow us to do is that'll drain that water out of there without putting a hurdle in for the trucks getting in and out. And they'll be able to drive across there.
Yeah.
And they have very little truck traffic now. I was talking to them today, actually. They may, maybe once a week go in and out, and then they may get a delivery every blue moon over there. So their truck traffic's really dropped, and eventually, Tony said, within probably the next year, theirs will be pretty much zero. They won't even be hauling themselves. They'll just be office space over there.
And it's gonna be made of concrete and steel, so it'll be fine.
All right. Item number 7.
About 6.
6, I'm sorry, Bank County Squash, right?
So we got a resolution in here, from Banks County, of course, get it today. No, we need it by next week, so, we need to vote on this. It's just a resolution, moving forward with Banks County Squash. I meant to print it off, but, we
Oh, it's
have,
not in here.
Just the resolution.
resolution should be.
Yeah.
No, yeah, IGA's not been completed. They're still working on, this is just a resolution to move forward with the referendum, if I'm not mistaken.
And I believe it was 1.72.
It's 400 and,
Yeah, it was 1.72%.
yeah.
So it was 400 or something,
Yeah,
424.
it's, we got 181,000 for roads, 181,000 for water improvements, and 50,000 for recreation within the parks.
that's been agreed to, right? The IGA, we have the agreement with Lake County.
We haven't got the official agreement yet.
Their terms.
Oh, yeah, they based it all off on population. So their initial, template, they had county population, the city population twice for the county. So it made the county look better, and they caught it and said, well, wait a minute, the split is actually this, and we went up. So about $100,000.
Yeah, it was substantial.
It was a substantial change.
All of them, in this, by adopting this resolution, you say you do approve the agreement. So as long as the terms of that agreement are stated here, then you can approve the resolution without further you hold the resolution until you've got that hard copy of the agreement to confirm that these revisions have been made.
Okay.
So wait till next week.
Next week, right?
Well, again,
Well, they'll have a few days. We vote next Monday. They need it no later than the 23rd, because they want to vote on it on the 23rd.
no, I'm with you, I just don't want, I don't have any trouble voting tonight, I don't believe that they'll revise what they've told you, but if it's not here and
Oh, I see.
you're just plugging in some numbers, if you approve it tonight, I would prefer that you not send it to Banks County, the signed version to Banks
Okay.
County until we actually see the written agreement, and then you can ratify it next week.
Okay.
Okay.
But even if we vote on it next week on the 20th, they'll have time to get it to, by the 23rd, right?
That's my understanding. We hope.
Yes.
I'd really like to see it before
I'll ask for it tomorrow. And then I'll email it to you once I get it. Yeah, this came in this morning, so I hadn't had a chance to talk to council about it, so.
All right. Number 7, Lula Assembly praise road closure, Charlotte Street closed, from Chattahoochee to Carter Street. Jerry?
Yes, got a request this afternoon. Lula Assembly of Praise will be doing their back to school, what's been called many times like a bash, back to school bash. Have kids come in, they're gonna have bouncy houses, food, entertainment, to give out, school supplies and book bags to students. They're doing that this Saturday, and they're requesting that those locations be closed on, Charlotte Street from, on Saturday from 10 to 2. And I wanted everybody to see if you all was okay with that. I don't see an issue because I don't think there's a lot of traffic through there, especially on the weekend.
I don't see no problem letting them do it.
I'll make a motion that they can do it.
I'll second it. Go ahead, Art.
Motion made by Juliet to approve, Lula Assembly praise road closure for Charlotte Street and Chattahoochee Street for Saturday, from 10 to 2, second by Garnett. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Yeah, they do that every year, so. I think they do actually do 2 different things a year. All right, number 8, GMA Savannah update. So I know each of us took many different classes down there, but we had a good time, we enjoyed ourselves, learned a lot, to bring back. And does anybody want to give an update from what they learned?
I know I attended one of the classes down there, and it was real interesting to me. It was actually on Sewanee, and it had the city manager of Sewanee, and also, I believe, it was, one of the members from the development authority now, not 100% sure who the other was. But I actually went down to Savannah this weekend because just showing off, Sewanee, sorry. Sewanee, showing off what they actually had done down there, it gave me ideas when I was sitting there to where just thinking about long-term goals, mid-term, short-term, but having a vision of what you would like to have for your city and what they've done with Sewanee over time. And I actually worked in that area for a long time and got to see a lot of that being done. And they did a new park and just how large that is and how many families were down there enjoying it. And just, and it went all the way into the night. I mean, it was lit up, it stayed open. it was almost like going to an amusement park, and they kind of went over, tax revenue, numbers that come in from just doing that, and thinking outside the box, instead of just looking at your city as a place to pop a Walmart, a huge grocery store, but using your real estate for something that, one, the citizens can use, but then also digging into mixed development type situations to where they've really capitalized off of the land that they had, where it was just a bunch of trees, which I know everybody loves their trees, but what they did with those trees, I mean, the usable space that they put in, it was eye-opening for me to actually go down there and see it in person, what they were showing, of what they did with it, and just the amount of families and kids and just people having a good time enjoying the city, whether they're all from that city or just coming and visiting. That just generates so much. So that was my biggest takeaway from today.
I'll say this, one of my biggest takeaways was Lula's good.
Oh, yeah.
Compared to some of the issues that we heard, but, yeah, and, there were some eye-opening things down there, but one of the classes Andrew and I both were in, was it the last day?
Yes.
We were in there with Pete and, mission statement that we don't have. The different things that he was bringing up that, oh, we don't have it, oh, we don't have that. Different things that people will look for, when they're researching you. So, you know, there was a lot of different classes that were offered. I think every one of us took something different. And, you know, when you start listening to other people, other cities, and the things they're going through, and you realize your problems aren't as bad as you thought they were, or just not on the scale that they were, it makes you feel good that the way we run things and, the way we keep people informed and, you know, just the good stewards that we are with everything that we do have in our control, it makes you feel good to hear that, so.
Yeah, I did HR, I did public works, and I also did water and waste management, water waste management. It was interesting to see how many cities allow, for example, developers to come in and they are not forced to put in certain infrastructure that we thankfully forced them to put in. It was amazing to see how much they let developers get away with that we will not put up with here in Lula. It was interesting to see a little more on how public works works and how important they are. And everybody forgets they exist. Nobody realizes it until a situation like we had this week. That's when they realize, oh my goodness, what do those guys do? They do literally what you don't see behind everything. Everything underground, you don't see.
That's right.
That's what they're doing. So it was another great class because again, like the mayor said, our problems are nothing compared to some of the problems. And I notice that every time I go to a training class, you know, they'll come up with something and I'm going, we don't have that problem. This is what we do. We don't have that problem. Like, how? Okay, well, this is how we do it. So it's interesting to see the difference.
Yeah, I'll echo that. You know, it's nice to be able to communicate with lots of other cities when we're down there. A lot of times, you know, very good conversations will occur over lunch or at breakfast. And that's where a majority of, you know, really, you know, sharing of knowledge occurs, is just socializing with other cities. Because when we're in our classes, we are, you know, definitely focused on, you know, getting the material that's coming from the instructors and trying to identify, you know, ways that, you know, we can apply those things to our city. But you know, we do share in addition to, you know, lunch conversations and breakfast conversations, we get to share with other cities in exercises as to, you know, how we would apply that knowledge. Some of the things that I was able to attend this year that I really enjoyed was, you know, creating entrepreneurship in cities. And so I've got to see, you know, quite a bit of showcases, you know, from various cities about, you know, building a very robust, you know, you know, entrepreneurship supporting city, and the different methods that other cities have used, being able to implement things where you can create microloans, or being able to have a very well defined process for when someone comes and says, hey, I want to start a business, what do I do? And, just having a dedicated person to be able to kind of be a concierge for them, to say, okay, we are your city, for business. Do you have this? Do you have that? What are you looking to do? Like, we can certainly guide you through the permit process, or we can connect you with, small business loan associations and things of that nature. Just have everything all prepared in a nice, not just a package that you hand them, but be able to have ongoing meetings with them. And also set up, conversations and meetings throughout the community to support those that are already here, to identify what else, can be done. So it's very nice to see, some of that information. Another course that I took was regarding social media, which was very poignant, when we returned. Certainly, got a lot of information. I've seen some of this before, not presented in this manner, but it's certainly something that we will be utilizing and incorporating into our communications plan, and selecting the right social media, which social media is our community on. You don't need to have 15 different versions of the same thing, but you do need to be in communicating in the places where they reside, online, and as well as by mail, or in print, or in electric signage. So, certainly I think we're on the right spot there. Another one that I took was Georgia's response to human trafficking. And that was a very informative course, and it was shocking to understand, how little resources that the state has and has been authorized to put in this space. I almost am shocked to tell you, how many official positions are in this, from the GBI to state special counsel that's appointed. But I did request and really volunteered us as a city to be contacted to be part of their pilot program that's offered in response to human trafficking. So I expect to be seeing some communication coming from the individuals I spoke with to kind of try to get us involved. And a lot of it has to do with signage, and it's signage that you've seen throughout the community. If you've been to gas stations, I know if you go to the new racetrack down the street, or Quick Trip, you'll see human trafficking signage there. Hotels, a lot of high-risk businesses that they want to make sure that there's law in place, that they have to have this, and we want to make sure that all of our businesses are aware and have the resources they need to make sure that they're in compliance. And I think it's plus being able to have dedicated contact individuals. So what do you do when we have, we're in the community. Our public works teams are in the community. Our water resource teams are in the community. And a lot of what they were asking in this pilot program is kind of along the lines of, if you see something, say something. Things are happening out there in our community, and I'm not saying that we have a bad problem with this. I'm just saying that we're in the community, and it's good for us to be aware and have training, so that if something like that were to occur, that we would know exactly what to do, and our staff would know exactly what to do, and engage the right resources to solve those problems for the individuals affected. So. Anyway, it was just an incredible experience. I enjoyed it. It was probably one of the best years, I have to say, and very, very glad to have Mayor Bruce along with us. It was just a very exciting time, and a lot of celebration as well as learning. So it was really good to see everyone engaged in that process. Thank you.
Did you learn anything, Jerry?
Oh, yeah, I learned a lot. One of the big takeaways I had, and it was just a reminder, is I took the public works course with Juliet, and just, reminding us, hey, if you got aged infrastructure, you need to start, at some point, you need to start replacing it. And we have already started that. We have meters in the ground that are 24 years old or older. Policy is 1 million gallons or 10 years, whichever comes first. We have started that program to get them changed out. And those that we're changing out right now are our manual reads, so they can go to radio read. So we're gonna be working on that over the next several months, because when a meter goes bad, it doesn't read better for the city, it reads better for the customer, because not as much water is being read. So having those updated helps us with our revenue, because you can see it drop. If you don't change your meters, you will see your revenue drop, and then you can't afford to make the water. Got some updates on the legislative session over the last 2 years, which was pretty eye-opening. That was very interesting. School cameras are going to be, I think, a thing of the past, because there's a lot of push to get rid of those. There's just just a ton of good information, and like the mayor said, and like everybody said, when you talk to someone else, you're so thankful you're from Lula, because it's so much better here. Because to hear the horror stories that some of them are facing, it is really bad. But the best thing of it all was, and this was the best time I've ever had, and I've been several times, is knowing that the mayor has a sense of humor and watching those teenagers jump in that bus on the graveyard tour was probably one of the highlights of the whole trip. It was great. It was great. So thank you for making it entertaining. Those few hours we got in the evening to get out and walk and kind of enjoy Savannah. But GMA did a really good job compared to years past. I went, I think, in 2013, 12 or 13 by myself, and then a couple of years after that. And this was much, much better. It was more informative, more engaging, and I really enjoyed it. And going with contingent from Lula was great. It was a lot of fun, a lot of good food, a lot of good classes. So we even got to see our counselor down there. So, and he made it fun too. So. But that's what I learned a lot. So thank you.
Angie?
I didn't learn anything.
Please.
I already knew it. No. Yes.
Oh, good.
I can't control it.
That was the gumbo.
I mean, you know,
She wasn't drinking gumbo.
Learned that, one of my classes was, ADA compliance on our website, so that was interesting. We're not quite there yet, but we will get there eventually, but we still have a couple years on that one. But yes, and I will say that I have gone since I have worked here, and not everybody has participated in years past, so I will give all of y'all, understand what I'm learning or not, but I will give all of y'all like props for that all of you attended and enjoyed yourself and actually learned something. So I will give all you that, because I think that is huge for the city that you all attended. So yes, I give you props to that.
I will say that's something else I noticed. It's amazing how many cities don't make training for their council to actually be able to handle making decisions, whereas here we make it a priority. Because how can we make a decision if A, we're not listening, and B, we're not learning?
Exactly. Joey?
Yes, sir.
What did you learn?
Learned that what Jerry was talking about, got the update on the law, and I'm very happy to hear y'all's comments about being proud here from Lula, because there have been times, not during Mayor Greer's terms, but other times when folks went home saying, well, thank God we're not from Lula, so. But there was, and I enjoy that conference. It's very practical, and GMA does a good job. So, nothing, I didn't expect about what we would like. They do a good job of keeping us up.
And thank you for dinner that night. It was most enjoyable down there. time, thank you.
Joey and his family know every incredible restaurant in Savannah. So if they ever say, hey, we want to invite you to dinner over here, and you've never heard of it, don't worry, just go,
Just
because
go.
it's the best food ever. And
You'll find
that
something on the menu.
secret.
And the owner of the restaurant even came up and talked to us. All right, next up, new development authority member.
I've got this one, I think, let me explain to y'all, on our development authority, the council gets to make selections for 5 of the 7 members, that's in the local legislation. So we have some openings on that development authority that the development authority has requested be filled. And I'll let Jim update you on these specifics. But this was confusing when you look at it the first time, because our development authority is unique. It's not a downtown development authority. It's not a county development authority. We created it for our water sewer service district areas. So when we did that, we had to go back and forth with the county and with our local delegation about how the development authority would be formed. So out of our 5 members, one is our mayor, is on the development authority. And then, of course, this is not our appointment, but one is from the Polk County Commission. But then the council appoints 3 members, and they have to meet this criteria. Either a taxpayer residing in the city of Lula, a taxpayer residing in Polk County who owns or operates a business within the city, or a taxpayer residing in Polk County who owns or operates a business located within either the water or sewer service area for the city of Lula. And one member can be a taxpayer residing in Hall County, or a person who owns or operates a business within Hall County appointed by the council. So Jim, if you'll help me, I think that number one, we've got some terms expiring, but immediately we have 2 openings to be appointed by council.
Thank you, Joe. That's a perfect explanation of what our requirements are and what we need. And we have an applicant that has been suggested to us. I contacted her and got to know her a little bit. She actually came and attended our last meeting, just to kind of see what we're all about. She felt like she would be a good fit, and we talked since that time, and she said, well, I've got a couple ideas. Here's some things that I think I can contribute, and I would very much like to be involved. So, this is a request to council to approve Mayor Ramsey, and she lives in the Magnolia Station area, and of course, that's part of the service territory too. So, Mayor's actually already suggested a couple of people to be a part of our listening to learn conversations, which most of you have already participated in as well, for our strategic economic development plan. So she hasn't waited to become involved, she's already jumped right in. So I would appreciate it if you would go ahead and approve her next Monday night. This would be replacing position that Josh and I previously held. So then later this year, we'll probably have another position that Matt Andy has already let us know that he's building a new house outside Hall County, and we have to resign at the time we moved into that house. So that would be an appointment from the county. But let me make you aware of that. We'll be working with the county to find somebody to be a reliable person to fill that position as well.
Do we know, because she is filling Josh's, she would potentially be filling Josh's seat. Do we know when his term ends?
Josh has already resigned.
He resigned.
No, I know he resigned, but when would his position have ended if he were still in it?
Yes, I've got that, but rather than y'all watching me dig through to find it out.
That works.
I I think
Is he coming off?
it'll be coming off in
Greg
December.
would be our commissioner. Well, the county actually could appoint any of their commissioners. It's usually the commissioner of the district that the city resides in. So it would be our District 3 commissioner who most likely going to be that, which that position is still undecided in the election. So we have just a Greg term would be rotating out when his term is over.
And if you hadn't met Bailey, sweet, and she can take a joke, so that's a good thing.
Yes,
And she stayed around, that was another good thing. We didn't run her off in the first 5 minutes.
right. So if you could help us out with that next time, I would certainly appreciate it. Thank you.
One caveat to Bailey, she's the, what is it, the fund police? She works, fund director, she works for the fund director.
Yes, she works in the city of Flower Branch, in their Department of Fund.
Department of Fund.
And her responsibility is to coordinate the activities in downtown Flower Branch, like farmers market, Friday food trucks, things like that. They, all their celebrations that they have. And so she's had a lot of experience with that. And she's very good with social media management, which is one of our development authority plans working on right now. And so I think, again, she brings a lot of good things that, to contribute to us that some of us old folks don't know as well, much about. So we're going to be grateful to have her, from her perspective and her experience, as well as her perspective as a young person.
Look forward to that next week. All right.
Thank you.
Next up, Starlink update for the city. So in case everybody was wondering what Starlink is, or as I would call it, Skynet. I don't know why, that's why I keep thinking of that, but we have very intermittent internet service when it comes to wireless here in the city. And one thing that I wanted to make sure that we could upgrade is our internet connectivity at certain spots. Wellness Park, the ball fields for the festivals that we have there, the depot, as well as City Hall. One of the biggest things we hear from vendors, and I know Juliet hears this from hers as well, is connectivity and the broadband connection that they get. They can't use their apps on their phone, they can't use their Square, whatever they may use for their payment system, because they just don't have the bandwidth to be able to funnel that down to them. So going with this, I kind of tasked Tony with coming up with a plan using Starlink for the city to start out with those 4 different areas I mentioned, and possibly moving into a more broader range to cover the whole city. And this goes along with what Tony learned, making this a business-friendly, entrepreneurial-friendly area. And with that, I think that is going to be a draw. But Tony, I'll let you go ahead and discuss this. You know more about it than we do.
Sure. A couple of things, when I started doing the research, I know that the push was, really to examine Starlink specifically. And so I did just that. And they are unique in the fact that they are a satellite provider, and they have increased the speeds that within that particular market of satellite interconnectivity to, very impressive speeds that they have. And the way that they do that, of course, is by the, number of, devices that they have in orbit, and the ability to have the coverage that they do and be able to, share some of the load, between different satellites and the methods of delivery. In the beginning, I was looking at, their residential versus business products, and most people are familiar with their residential products. They do typically come with a receiving panel along with a router that also functions as Wi-Fi to be able to, where you would install this and be able to have, multiple devices within your home, be able to connect to it without any issue. And this is a method that's commonly done through, internet service providers that you're more traditionally familiar with, such as Comcast, Windstream, AT&T, et cetera. With Looking at researching, Starlink, I realized quickly that their business, products are a little more robust. Their business products have priority. They actually call it a global priority, and it may not even be in this particular draft. This will be revised with additional details here shortly. With the business products that they have, it has a priority traffic. So if you have other Starlink customers within the area, they prioritize their business customers first. And it's a fair method, and they go into detail about that, so that it doesn't penalize everyone if they're not, paying, business, rates. And the business rates really aren't that more expensive than the residential. It's just that they understand the needs of business are a little bit different than the residential client. The things that you'll see, and especially I'm gonna pay attention really to page 8 of the document. I think it's on the back of a page. It looks like this. This dark blue one here. And I'm not gonna go, over, every little detail here, but what I discovered was that I think we would be better with what they refer to as an enterprise account, where we would be able to have independent systems rather than, because I know we want to be able to have stuff at the ball field, the depot, Wellness Park, and, and continue to expand that, but we don't have to do all of that at one time. Now, the key things to remember is that you have to have power wherever you're placing these panels. And then, in order for devices such as, tablets and phones and anything else that's going to be using Wi-Fi, it has to be in close proximity to that. They have routers that go with them, but the routers are very limited and they're very proprietary to Starlink. But Starlink understands that, and really, anytime you go into the enterprise level, they don't even bother to give you a router because their routers are they're not really designed for that purpose. There's limits on how many connections can be made. So you don't want to get into a situation where you've got 300 devices out there trying to connect and it's maxed out at 30. So you want to be able to, that's going to make everyone very angry. That they can't get on. So what my recommendation is that we look at other routers and other Wi-Fi technology. These are designed to do what is known as a mesh topology, where you can do Wi-Fi. You can start with one device, and that device will have enough power to be able to expand, and you would be able to connect to it for a certain distance. The mesh idea allows you to place another device nearby that kind of shares that load, and all it requires is power. It doesn't have to be connected directly back because it creates its own channels to have that backhaul, and you would be able to control that. With the enterprise accounts, you could have 15 different devices out there or different areas of the city that are being covered, and anyone here at City Hall would be able to say, oh, and we're not really using this one right now. Why don't you go ahead and turn that off? And we don't have a need for that. Maybe you don't, and during times of the year, you just turn it off. Or maybe it can be that you have multiple devices or backhaul in a certain area where in most of the year you only need one of them operating, and you could turn two of them off, and therefore save your money when there's not like a large event that's going on. So we would only turn on something like that. We'd have the equipment, everything would be installed in place. And you just turn it on when you know that you're going to need that capacity. And you can manage all of this remotely. So my recommendation is that we would end up with some of their enterprise products. And again, I will have another plan put together. I'm looking at Ubiquity and Meraki, which are products that we have here. I'd have to go back and look and see what we're using. So we may be able to use existing infrastructure that we're already paying for, that are already paying for, and be able to have that network created where we can connect from here to City Hall or all the way over to Veterans Park and then cross over to the depot. And so you can have a very good system that You can implement self-healing, where it decides, hey, I don't need to create as much power with this particular device. Let me turn this one down a little bit, turn this other one up. And it just, manages itself. But that's the advantages of having different vendors, not just the Starlink router, because they knew that was not the space they wanted to be in. They just wanted to deliver, very similar to the way that a lot of the, traditional internet service providers, they just said, hey, we just want to be viewed as the pipe that gets you the stuff. You know, we don't want to be movie makers, or we don't want to have content, things of that nature. That's somebody else's work. We're just giving you the pipe to get it. Let other people use that pipe. And so that's what Starlink, really went after, is they just wanted to be the conduit to make it possible. But again, there's more information coming, and I just wanted to share that with you. This is a preliminary look into the solution, and I really think that things that we need to be mindful of is that you have to have power. So I know that we talked about SPOS money for being able to put power at the park, wellness park, and some additional upgrades. We may want to look and see, where are we going to do that? And, can we have something that's, specifically designated for our communications technology? And I think we actually have some already. And this would be a big help, where we would be able to just mount panels to be able to do that. And even the other thing you have to have is a clear line of sight. And that's very important. I think that our biggest challenge is going to be in Wellness Park with the trees, but I think that there is opportunity there that we would be able to hit satellites with that. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Tony. I like the idea of piggybacking off existing services that we already have. If that's a possibility, since we've already paid for it, or we are paying for it, to be able to piggyback and chain that over to get that over to the parks. The only issue I would see would be going from the depot to the ball field. That's quite a stretch there, but we'll keep pushing forward on this to see what we can get into place.
Yeah, and I will add one thing, because you bring up a very good point. There's another technology where really you're just doing Wi-Fi extenders, where they're very directional, where you really could point from from City Hall, Veterans Park, the depot, to the ball field. You can just line of sight point. I mean, these things operate over large numbers of miles, just depending on what your needs are. But I think having Starlink itself, because what I'm just describing would be using the connectivity you already have. I'm not sure we have a vendor now, but you could with Starlink have redundancy and be able to say, okay, our provider here at City Hall is now down. Can we use the Starlink that's over that way to help get us by in the meantime? Or put one here and be able to just turn it on at a moment's notice, because it's already set up, ready to go. You're not paid for it, and turn it on. And that's the advantage of the enterprise accounts that they have. And so that would be a redundant network. So when one goes down, whether it's a catastrophe, or somebody runs over a telephone pole, or crashes into some other underlying plant, underground plant, and destroys that connectivity, then we have an alternate means of doing so.
And I think this goes back to the local emergency operation plan as well. Bringing it in on that, because I think that paired with that, if we were, we wouldn't want emergency or disaster, but if we ever did, already have that in place. Moving forward. So,
And I like the ubiquity stuff. I'll add to that line of sight. We dropped, back then it was Windstream, now it's Canadian. We had them at another city, and we were paying several hundred, if not a couple of grand a month for internet, because each facility had their own internet. So that was a bill for each facility. But we went to wireless and did our own, 50 grand up front, but then we only paid $600 a month for everything. And we could shoot it off of our water tank to another water tank 5 miles across town to our water plant. And we do the same thing
a mile and a half, 2 miles away to, the police department, fire department, and then to city hall, which was a mile and a half away. So yeah, doing that and saved a fortune, but then a lot of people got out of that business. I don't understand why, but they got out of that business. Now they're back to paying a lot of money for internet. So
And the technology works.
it
Better
works.
than it ever has.
It works. It is.
Okay, great. I look forward to the updates on that and, moving forward with that. All right. Any other questions on Starlink with the internet access? All right. Water update, Jerry.
Water update. Well, we still need water. However, it looks like we're at a static level. We get almost 3 or 4 feet in the elevated tank and then it drops. But it's been staying steady. I looked at it today. I don't know about right now, but it's been staying steady at about 60 feet in the blue tank. It's got to get to 70 feet or above before it starts filling the elevated tank. And yesterday morning, the elevator tank had reached up to 3 feet. So we're making progress. It's just been very, very slow. We're still working with Gainesville to do the interconnect. If we can't do that sooner rather than later, we're going to try another method to make this work. I talked with Georgia Rural Water just before the meeting, and we've got a couple of plans in place to see if we can make this work a different way. So we can get over that hump and see if we can get our tanks full and see if our wells will keep up now going forward. Since the holiday period has passed, we think we will, which was interesting. We only used water from Gainesville for 5 days. We've not used any water since. And 3 of those days equaled 50,000 gallons, which surprised me that we didn't use more than that over a 10-day period. So yeah, I think it was the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. That was our big days. The 4th was the biggest. We used 28,000 gallons from Gainesville. So that's what led to Sunday being such a bad day. But looks like we're coming out of it. We still have a ways to go, but we have a lot of partners willing to help. Georgia World Water has been in constant contact since it started. I've talked to Banks County over the last 2 days. They're willing to help. Gainesville's willing to help. They're having to look at their logistical issues that they may have or may not have. They just want to make sure it all works. And the pump company is on standby, ready to go when we are. So that could happen tomorrow.
But still under the boil water advisory.
Still under the boil water
We
advisory.
should know tomorrow though with the water sample, right?
Well, I'm hoping, I asked Trinity today if he could do some water samples. He was going to get in touch with a citizen to pull from there, one of them that had a trickle on that Sunday. But he's got to work at the wastewater plant out of Colorado. So that's going to be an issue to get the sample. So he said he would go Wednesday to get it done. So it may be Friday before we can lift it.
Okay.
And still under water conservation.
Oh, absolutely.
We'll stay in that.
Yeah, we'll stay under water conservation for a while. That means that, and I informed Richard today with Small Stars, won't be using any water for a while from us. So, but he assured me that they're expediting the well, getting it wired up, and they're hoping to have it up and running within the next 2 weeks. But then we got to go through the EPD process, and they got to do some testing and some flushing, and hopefully we'll have that approved first part of August. We hope.
All right, any other questions on the water update? All right, the one that we're inserting in, will be number 12, Labor Day celebration. So Jerry and I talked about this a little bit, and Andrew gave me a great idea. We were talking a week or so ago, is doing something Labor Day weekend for the city. Nothing big, just a small celebration, possibly a block party. And we discussed, Andrew and I were talking about shutting down Cobb Street from Pine Street to Hemlock, and then Hemlock Street over to Athens Street, that corner right by the big ball field, and doing a fireworks display. We can do a fireworks display. I did 2 in the last 2 weeks. 3,000 or less. And they come out very, very nice. About a 30-minute show, but open those streets up to local vendors, the different restaurants, let them come in, let people tailgate, have a good time, set up some cornhole, maybe get some jumping houses for the kids to play in, and just have a good block party with very, very limited funds. Do the fireworks and just have a good time that night. It being a Sunday night before Labor Day. That way more people could enjoy it, more people would be around versus doing it Monday night where people are having to worry about getting ready to go back to school and work and everything, so.
Do we have the insurance coverage for the fireworks? Sorry, I'm gonna think in terms of,
We should, but we will double check that. We should cover that.
But also keep in mind, if you had an individual do it, they wouldn't be bound by that. If we do it as a city, we're bound by it, but if an individual does it, they wouldn't.
But they have to provide their own insurance, which means it triples the price.
I just wanted to make sure that however we do it,
Yeah, we'd be set up on the ball field on the diamond part, where the dirt area is, and block off the parking area. But use chaser for parking, and then your fenced area, keep people out so that you'd have plenty of room, plenty of buffer room. So people could set up on the street, their chairs, so on and so forth.
I'm always wanting to do that, never could get it right.
Let's look at that. And
We'll have it ready for next Monday. So this is 150 years. When did Lula become a town? Because I know it's 1876.
Was it
but I don't
September?
know if it was September.
September 1st.
Okay.
That'd be perfect. That would be perfect to do that. So,
Go for it.
find out insurance wise. We'll make it happen. Okay. All right, that's all I had on that. Anybody have any questions on that? I know Julia asked on the insurance, great question on that. Make sure we're fine with that. All right. Then I will entertain a motion to go into executive session.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
Motion made by Julia to go into executive session, second by Garnett. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. We're in executive session. We'll adjourn. All right. Sorry we kept y'all so long. Just have an awful lot to get done here, so. Citizens' comments. Anybody have any comments they would like to make? Mr. Schuler.
You want me to take my phone?
Take a mic.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm
Yeah,
fine.
take a mic to them.
Take a little bit like me.
All right, stubborn.
What a idiot.
My name is Shula, 5928 Flat Street, Lexington, Colorado. I came up here a good while back, bought some property, elected land for about 3 years. Then I decided I was gonna start building a house. Well, I built one, and I like the house I built. So that's been 27 years ago. So I must have liked something about it.
Must have been Garnett.
That's it. Garden might go a long way back. We do. I don't mean to complain a whole lot, but in a way I do. Because I see most of the workers that rides the road going in and out of subdivisions 3 and 4 times a day. And I know it don't take 3 or 4 to look for water main, right? Because you're gonna see where it comes from. If you look into it, you find out that the prisoners, what gas you burn here, pay the man to go get them, furnish the gas twice a day, to bank the gas, then pay him. And you'll find out you save money by putting these workers back one, two, driving around in these trucks. Now, I came before the council last year about a sign to be put up down at, McLeod Street because blind curves. There's two blind curves down there. And it took a long time for the signs to come in. And now they've been here, I've got approximately 3 weeks ago. How long does it take for 2 men to put a sign up? Instead, if you start putting up a sign, there's 4 trucks and 3 men watching 1 man work. So if you see something, say something. And I've seen it, and I think it should be checked into. When a man comes to work out here, let him have a work order, he knows where he's going, and if he don't know where he's going, he's sitting out here in the shop doing something. So I think it'd save lots of money. But I do need to get those signs, okay?
Jerry, got that covered?
We got it covered.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
It's gonna make a
Yes, thank you. Anyone else? Last chance. Tony? Just want to see if you were waiting. All right, council comments. We'll start with Tony tonight.
All right. I just want to say thank you for everyone that stuck around, those that are watching online. We've had a lengthy meeting tonight, a lot of topics to discuss. And I know this is all in preparation for next week's meeting. And I hope you'll all get a chance to join us again and see what happens next week. Thank you.
And like the fact that it's been a long meeting, I'm just gonna say thank you for everybody that's been here tonight and hung in there and watched it or whatever. Continue to come out here and support.
All right.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. It's been a long time tonight, but we appreciate you coming.
I'm kind of going to echo that. Thank you all for being here or for watching. Just as a reminder, Wednesday is Lula Ladies at 12 and 6:30. The Historical Society has our next meeting on July 27th, and my understanding is we have a scrapbook from the 1800s we are going to have on display. Also, this Saturday from 11 to 3 is a vendor pop-up event at the depot, and it's not listed on our upcoming meeting minutes, but August 13th is the next community game night from 6:30 to 8:30. Bruce?
All right. Thank y'all for coming out tonight, for sticking around. I know it's been a long night. We just had an awful lot on our agenda to get done. Trying to move forward as quickly as possible with some plans that we have in place. Couple upcoming meetings. Lula Ladies, again, we just mentioned that, Wednesday, 15th, 12 and 6:30 at the depot. Next council meeting will be next Monday, the 20th, 7 p.m. here at Lula City Hall. Historical Society Little Belt meeting, Monday, 27th, 6:30 at the depot. Development Authority meeting, Tuesday, the 28th, 6 p.m. here at City Hall. Planning Commission meeting, Tuesday, August the 4th, 6 p.m. here at City Hall. Next work council meeting will be Monday, August 10th, 6 p.m. City Hall, community game night. Thursday, August 13th, 6:30 to 8:30 at the depot. And then our next regular council meeting will be August 17th, 7 p.m. at City Hall. And then also, just as a reminder, District 3 open council seat qualifying will be July 27th, beginning at 8:30 a.m., ending July 29th at noon. For qualifying, anybody that is in that district needs to come into City Hall to do the qualifying on that. And other than that, I do want to say thank you for my powdered donuts. They're sugar-free. Every bit of the sugar is free. If you don't believe me, I'll give you some of those now. So, we had, like I said, apologize for such a long night. There wasn't an awful lot to get done, but, thank you all for hanging in there, for tuning in at home. And that's all we have. Do I have a motion to?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made by Julia to adjourn, second by Garnett. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We're adjourned.